How are you?
Hi, Sawyer. It's been too
Hi,
long.
Mikey. It's
It's
been too long.
uh, so we were supposed to do this like a month ago before Easter,
Yeah.
uh, and then just blah.
Yeah.
And here we are.
Life happens, right?
Life happens.
Yeah.
Sorry about that,
That's okay.
but a lot has happened since.
I think we
We
have
didn't.
I
We
think we
didn't
have more of
plan.
a I think we have more of a topic now for sure.
Uh huh. Uh huh.
Yeah.
We have a few. I don't even know what we're talking about today.
Well,
So
I think the main topic, we can have a couple little mini topics at first if you like. But I think
sure.
the main topic is like fitness
Chris Jericho.
stuff.
Oh, okay. Got it.
He could be
Fitness.
part of it. But I think fitness stuff, because I think, okay, you have like new fitness stuff to talk about.
A
I
lot. Yeah.
I have a long history of like you chose poorly
Mhm.
fitness things. So I think this is a rich topic. And
Uh-huh.
I don't think we've talked
Uh-huh.
about fitness before,
Not quite. No.
right?
Kinda. Like we talked about the devices
To
and
some
that
degree.
some of
Yeah.
them are used for
Yeah.
fitness, but we didn't talk about fitness.
No.
And and I think it's mostly because I had I had no idea what to say about fitness. Like I
Hmm.
had this is the first time in my life that I have some grasp of some understanding or some experience along with some theoretical understanding. Like I've put some of it in practice where I get some basic fitness principles that I think people are taught like
Right.
in health class
Right.
in grade school. I never really understood or grasped it or lived it until like the past 4 months.
Right.
Uh, and and I would have had nothing to say if we talked about this before. But it's been a crazy 4 months for me, and you chose poorly, and its related themes have a lot to do with it. So
Wow.
I'm excited to talk today.
I remember when like you and I have had many conversations about like the Apple Watch,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
and you bought an Apple Watch like right away. You were such an early adopter of the Apple Watch. And
That's right.
I remember when I finally bought one in 2020, uh, and you and I talked about it, and you were like, here's what you do: you dial your rings as low as you feel you can, and then you just win every day.
That's what we knew. It's a ring that you want to complete. So of course you want to win, right? Why would you set it up to?
Why would you not finish the circle every day when you
Right.
get to
No,
control the number that finishes the circle?
and you took it to the extreme for me because I told you that
Yeah.
like for the move and for the exercise ring, and that was 2020, so that must have been the pandemic.
Might have been. It might
So
have. That might have been like
for,
self-care advice for the time.
right, right, because before the pandemic, when I had the watch, it was just like okay, I my rings were bigger, the
Right.
goals were higher
Yeah.
because of life.
Yeah.
But
Sure.
for the pandemic, just do what you can.
Mm.
But you took it to the extreme of saying, I was complaining. We weren't. This is off of a podcast.
Yeah.
We're not recording.
Yeah.
And I was telling you about. It's like 10 p.m. and I have like two stand hours to go.
Yes.
And you said, just put it to 8.
Just
And I was
change
like,
it to
what?
8.
Change it to 8. It's standing. What? And then you said, yes, change it to 8. Who cares?
It's the stand ring.
And
That's the ring no one cares about.
so since then, for like 4 years, it was at 8.
8. Yeah.
Because you're right. Like we're not going anywhere. And it's 10 p.m. Why are you forcing yourself to stand?
Yeah.
It doesn't mean anything. It's
No.
not gonna make a difference. So yeah. So you were. So we changed. We kept raising the bar or lowering the bar
Yeah.
for each other.
Yeah.
And I think that was the extent of our fitness.
For our
talk.
fitness
Very
chat.
helpful.
I think I will put
The other thing you taught me.
Okay.
Sorry, the other thing you taught me was if I'm if my exercise ring is not as didn't progress as much as I'd want it to, and
Yeah.
I wanted to,
Yeah.
you taught me to do the mind and body exercise.
The
That
the
might have
mi-
been on a podcast.
the mind and body. So I'm gonna link to this. You can go back to the season 2 episode where we talk about cheating.
This is, so we talked about it. Okay,
I remember we
it's
talked
on a
about this.
podcast.
It's on a
Yeah.
podcast, and
Right.
I gave one incorrect piece of information in that podcast, which was that you could retroactively go back and change your numbers afterwards, which you can't do. I do feel like you used to be able to do it, but like they fixed that and you can't like go back and make yourself look more impressive. And if you break a streak, the streak is broken. There's not much you can do about it.
That's right.
But what you can do is if you feel like you're close to finishing your rings, but it's like 11:30 and you're not going to do a workout, but you need like 10 minutes of activity or something to change it, you can just do a mind and body workout and just sit there.
Right.
And it'll
Just sit there.
it'll do it. It counts. That's the one built-in like cheat code to the Apple Watch is the mind and body workout.
And it really is a cheat code.
Oh, yeah.
Because like there's a mindfulness app, you know. So
Yeah.
what you're supposed to do with mind and body is
Yeah.
what you do with the mindfulness app. You meditate, you breathe, whatever.
Sure.
But it's not connected in any way.
No.
So you can totally do the wellness stuff and not earn calories or exercise minutes.
Yeah.
Or you could just
Do
the other thing.
Do the mind and
earn
body
the
workout
minutes.
and
You want to close the ring?
If your like
that's what you
streak is more important to you than like raw honest data, then do the mind and body workout. It's fine.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that this is primarily the thing I want to talk about,
Sure.
and it's also made the biggest difference.
Yeah.
Which I don't like how it sounds being the Apple guy. Oh, you're an Apple person now more than I am at this point.
More?
But
I don't know.
well, yeah. I mean, what does it mean really? But you have the newer stuff.
I do have I have a new Apple Watch and I have a new iPhone. And I do have, if you want, I do have sort of 6-month reviews of both, if that's an interesting thing.
I do think we should do that for the phone when we talk about the cameras.
Okay.
Though I think that's where we can jump off to that. But
Okay.
so if you don't mind, if I may get started on this,
Sure.
because I've been playing with this in my head for a while, and I think after 4 months, I can now say something.
Okay.
And play more instead of just dreaming of a blog post. But so the idea of the Apple Watch is that you're setting a move goal where you're actively doing stuff and it's supposed to measure how many calories you burn when you move.
Yeah.
This is calculated by your age, your gender, your weight, and I guess some tracking of motion.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the exercise ring, which is arbitrary because it's arbitrary. You just however many minutes you want to exercise per day, it's gonna measure that, and that's gonna be your goal. And then there's the stand ring, which I guess is to like fight against sedentary lifestyles or something. But again,
It's
also arbitrary.
That one is entirely for computer people who sit here all day and don't move.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Which
Yeah.
is, and computer people is like all people now, you know. So I get it. But so since the Apple Watch came out, which is since the whole time I've had it,
Mhm.
like that's what it's for. And ideally, so between doing the thing that the watch asks you to do, there's a huge gap between that and having it make any difference in your life. So I imagine if I was someone who was like classic computer comic book guy, like truly sedentary and truly like a caricature of unhealthiness.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine the Apple Watch would make a dramatic difference. And I think I mean just having arbitrary goals from 0 to suddenly I have 400 calories and however many minutes of exercise, that would make a difference. But even if I'm a large, hefty person, and I'm sedentary a lot, it didn't really make much of a difference. I think this is what I want to say. Like even if I had a streak going on I had streaks over 5, 6, 7 years of just broken every so often, but just mostly burning 500 to 1,000 calories a day, 20 to 30 minutes of exercise a day, and standing for 8 to 12 stand hours minutes a day.
Sure.
It didn't really the watch, like those fitness things, didn't really do anything. It was other things that made a difference here and there with my health, and the closest the biggest difference I made before this season was after I got a COVID scare that ended up being diabetes. Like I was diagnosed with diabetes, and that scared me. And then suddenly, like you just diet, and then we just exercised a lot. And this was during the pandemic, and so we just exercise around the apartment just very often. And then there was some weight loss, and but so the connection of the watch was that it would just track how much exercise I would do, but it really had nothing. Like the data I was getting from it was just how many minutes I exercised. That's it.
Yeah.
And everything else was also arbitrary. I burned so and so many calories, whatever that means, and I stand up for stand hours, which is a thing Apple invented. So now the difference is late last year, after 37 years of blood test results telling me I'm healthy, I suddenly get blood test results that tells me I'm not. And because this is just because of my dad and my mom and my family
genetics,
history. It was just it was coming. I knew it was coming, and suddenly it was here. And the advice, aside from take these medicines day and night, is the usual: lose weight, healthy diet. And I had no idea what that meant. I mean, I knew what it meant from health class, but it just means eat less. I can do that, I guess. But I was working blind. Um, it's another podcast where I talk about what finally got me to do it. But several things inspired me and motivated me and just made me connect dots. Which is the biggest dots that connected for me were that calorie deficit leads to weight loss. Like that's it. Like there is no other trick. So whether you're aware of the calories you're putting in or not, it is the deficit that's gonna lead to weight loss. That and eat healthier. Just the macro stuff. That's still I'm not there yet. But the deficit and thinking about the deficit, there was a fad, the MyFitnessPal fad. Like it was the thing that everybody did for so long, and that I never liked it. I thought it was weird.
That one, right?
But I decided to look into it.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah.
There it is. Did some research on what the best calorie counter apps are. MyFitnessPal's at the top. This other app called Lose It is there, where they claim that the interface is nicer. So
sometimes that's enough.
Yeah. So and me being me, I thought it was nicer. So I downloaded both. Thought Lose It was cooler, and then tried it. And then here within a week, Sawyer, a week, I had lost like 2 kilograms, and this was because I am a very heavy person. So it's easy for a heavy person to lose a little bit of weight, but
Maybe
a little bit. Just
I think
small
it's a
difference.
I'll stop you there. I think it's a tremendous accomplishment to be able to change your body on purpose, regardless of what you're trying to do.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree, and I always felt it was something I could never do until I did it. And what made me do it was basic math with the help of my iPhone.
Could I ask you a detailed question about Lose It?
Sure.
Do you subscribe to Lose It Premium Features 1 year?
No.
Do you subscribe to Lose It Premium 1 year?
No.
Do you subscribe to Lose It Premium Lifetime?
No.
Do you subscribe to Year of Premium Features?
No.
Do you subscribe to Additional Year of Premium Features?
Nope.
Okay.
0.
Okay.
Completely free.
Okay. Because those are the listed in-app purchases for this app, which is, I think, a hilarious list of items for sale.
It is hilarious.
MyFitnessPal has like a very
Store
similar list of various funny in-app purchase lists.
Right. I think they just list everything, even if they change the price.
Yeah.
In whatever promo period they have.
Yeah.
Apple will just list everything.
Yeah.
In the App Store listing.
Yeah.
Uh,
I use my
yeah.
Fitness Pal, but I might switch over to. I'm not loyal to any of these. For instance, I don't pay for my Fitness Pal Premium 1 month, or 1 year, or 1 month, or monthly premium 1 month, or premium 1 year, or premium 1 month, or yearly premium 1 year. I don't subscribe to any of those.
The yearly premium 1 year sounds like it
Yearly
makes sense.
premium 1 year is good. Yeah.
Yearly premium 1 year because it's yearly, but it's 1 year.
Right.
Right. So calorie counters are old news.
Sure.
But the fact that it worked within a week blew my mind because I was not unhappy in that week. I was not starving myself. I was not eating like things that made me upset. I was just doing the math and finding that I could be happy and be full and still fit my budget. Because I didn't set a crazy budget. I set a weight goal for a long time from then.
Yeah.
So it worked. It worked within a week. So then I started looking into the app more because apps like this intimidate me. But look into the app, you can see that you can link it to your watch. You can link it to Apple Health, and then when I did that, and then it occurred to me that the calories that my watch is measuring can give me bonus calories to eat. Sawyer, I love eating.
Video game point. You get video game points for your watch, right?
You get video game points.
Yeah.
And I had been just increasing my move goal thinking it'd make a difference. But now seeing that this is the math that made a difference. And that my watch can help me do that math, and then it can result in an extra cup of rice and an extra pastry at the end of the day, made me very excited to figure out how it works. So then I would just start. I had been completing my rings anyway, but now seeing the bonus, I could now set my move goal. Okay, so here's just the numbers, and I'm sorry, just boring number stuff.
It's fine.
But my move goal was at 1,000, which to me is a lot, but I found that if I hit 1,000, I would get around 500, 600 extra calories to eat for dinner, which means that my goal, like to burn the amount of calories I should goal, is 600 less. So then I just set my move ring to whatever I need to burn as many calories to then get the bonus, so that my watch can tell me at what point I can feel safe ordering an extra slice of pizza or something. So this is just about my happiness. See, this is the thing that's blowing my mind here, is that what's getting me results is just managing the video game part of my brain that makes me happy, that then also results in the eating, which makes me very happy.
Sure.
So this is devoid of any nutrition education. That came later.
Okay.
But just that basic thing, just work. Like it's. I hate saying this because when I was not into this, it kind of alienated me when people would talk about this. So I now am talking about it. But when that clicked, it became, and I don't want to jinx it, but it's been 4 months, so I think I can say it now, kind of easy in that sense. Later, I met with a nutritionist because insurance gave me free access to nutritionists. And they said, we advise against calorie counters because they're bad for your mental health. We would rather you manage your portions. And here's a giant spreadsheet about the appropriate number of portions per meal, per type of food. And I wanted to yell at her and say, do you understand that there's no video game happiness there?
Yeah.
And you're making me actively feel guilty every time I look at my food.
Right.
The calorie counter eliminates that, because then I know what I can and can't do before I even do it.
Right.
Like she said something like, I remember the thing that made me the angriest was, you can eat shrimps, but you have to make sure you don't eat the heads. Sorry, in the Philippines, I'm Asian. We just love the heads. Like if you're not gonna eat the heads of the shrimp, I don't know why you're eating shrimps.
I might
so
not.
when she said this,
I might not know the difference.
Well, one day, Sawyer, we'll have a meal together.
Okay.
Let's eat some shrimp heads.
I eat shrimp,
So
but
shrimp
like
heads are.
I
Yeah.
think I eat all of it. I don't know.
Well, let's see. Let's find out one day. Yeah. But yeah, she said just make sure you remove the heads, and it just made me so angry. It's
What
like I could just
is it the
not eat the
crunchy
shrimp.
part that you pull off?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah. There is a way to eat the. So you take off the shell, and
okay.
then inside the crunchy part, that's where all the flavor, all the juices, and also all where all the cholesterol is. But
Oh.
that's where most of it is. So a lot of like shrimp bisque and like shrimp sauces are made by crushing the heads,
Oh.
because that's where all the flavor is.
Okay.
So the nutritionist, I guess, I mean, it's just what nutritionists teach and what they've been taught. But it's so giving me some basic info helped about like what to eat when. But the advice of managing your portions is better for your mental health than doing the math on your phone. Just made no sense to me. And I think it clicked to me that, oh, this is because I think this is the tech nerd video game Apple person in me. So putting those things together made me kind of excited to talk about this, especially since weeks and weeks after that, fast forward to now, it's been like 4 months. I'm very proud to say, if I may say so publicly, for in a condensed way, for the first time, I have lost 12 kilograms since I started, which is that's Canadians are used to that, but I still have to translate to pounds. So that's something like 25 pounds.
The Canadians are. I don't know if you know this. Canadians are really weird. We just use whichever unit of measurement feels easier.
Mhm.
So I think we more or less use pounds here. I understand
Ah,
kilograms because of Japanese pro wrestling, but
yeah.
yeah, we mostly use pounds. It's weird. It's weird. Our units of
Yeah.
measurements here are extremely inconsistent.
No, I think we're the same.
Mm,
We just use pounds more than kilograms. I also understand kilograms,
mm,
but uh, as a person losing weight, it makes more sense to me to say that I need to lose 20, 30, 40 pounds than
sure.
5, 10 kilos. And also, we do kilometers here. We don't do miles, but we do pounds. I think we're the same.
I think we're the same. Like we
But
do kilometers, but we do feet and inches for height.
yeah, right. Same. Um, you chose poorly, world.
We show like
Um,
units of measurement is the one of the. You think it's hard to get people to change messaging apps? Like, try changing units of measurement for people.
right. Right. It's like saying use Android.
Right.
Same thing. Right. It's a life thing. So I'm happy to say that it's worked. Like my watch tracking my motion and actually contributing to math, I understand that directly results in results
Yeah.
like daily and weekly. My canonical weight is Sunday morning,
Right.
and I've been losing weight almost every Sunday morning for the past 4 months now. And this is important. I'm not unhappy. In fact, I'm really happy. My daily life of eating is happy and fun. We get to cook what we want to cook and eat what we want to eat. And checking my blood sugar every day, it seems to I seem to be okay. My blood pressure's normal. Like my health has improved in the ways that the Apple Watch has promised. And it's because I now understand the numbers that
Yeah.
the Apple Watch measures.
Yeah.
And aside from like 100 other things, privilege and support and
Sure. Yeah.
happy,
Of course.
loving people
Yeah.
and competition with Char. But aside from all of that, just the technology aspect of it, specifically the apps on the smartphone and the Apple Watch is. I was before we recorded. Char asked me what we're going to talk about, and it just occurred to me that this is a thing I literally could never have done until now, until this season. Like even as a younger adult, before this stuff was accessible, I
Yeah.
would not have been able to do this. And it's while it's unfortunate that it took me this long, I'm kind of glad it's happening now. Like it worked out.
Yeah.
So uh, I'm very happy to say it. So I don't want to say there's still one of the things I always tell myself or is also the journey is long. Like there's a weight goal, but I think what's more important that I remain doing this. By this I mean not necessarily calorie deficit, but just being wise about my choices, forever,
Yeah.
than it is to reach a weight goal.
Yeah.
You know, consistently for a long time. But I just want to mark this with a podcast with you specifically and say I kudos and salute to Apple and technology because it has allowed me to do something I could never have done otherwise.
That's awesome, dude. I think that's so good. I have a couple of sort of follow up notes based on what I was listening to there,
Sure.
but I think that's so awesome that you are feeling happy while doing this,
Yeah.
because I think that's usually the thing that goes first when like trying to improve oneself is the happiness part.
Right.
So
Right. Absolutely.
I'm so glad that like that's a big part of it for you. They're like, no, you're in a good mood. Your body feels good. You're in a good mental health space. Like that's tremendous. I there's a little bit of like this is the first minute of like a WWDC keynote where they bring out all the people that like Apple Watch like saved,
Uh-huh.
and and that's great. That's
Right.
actually like I don't know why those aren't just like commercials on television,
Right.
you know, because that's like pretty powerful marketing. To be like, oh no, this like if I didn't have this watch, I'd be in a much worse situation. You know, so that's awesome. I
I
I
I
also,
did.
sorry.
Sorry. Just about the watch being a commercial thing. The specific things that the watch can do does for me is tracking motion and tracking my heart rate,
Yeah.
and then the apps do the math, right?
Yeah.
So I will say this is a thing any motion tracker can do, any modern motion tracker can
Yeah.
do. That's many of which are much cheaper than the Apple Watch. And I mean, Android phones can certainly do it, probably
Yeah.
do it better. So it's not an Apple thing that
Yeah.
I'm saying, but my
But-
Apple preferences though. are
Anything
part of
that
it.
gives you reasonably accurate video game numbers
Right.
is good for this. Sure, yeah. I think it's really interesting that the nutritionist was like, "Don't do any of that. That's bad."
Yeah.
It's so like just for my own experience doing this stuff. I've become a bit of a believer in like uh like I forget what it's actually called, but it's like a scientific term for like a sample set of one in this experiment. And like health experiments that have sample sets of thousands have interesting results, but they often like fail when you actually like apply them to individual people. And like fitness stuff seems to be like you are running an experiment on yourself with a sample set of one.
Right.
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 And it sounds like it's really working for you right now, and that's awesome. I'm super inspired, frankly. Like when you told me like kind of like the TLDR version of what you just said in a chat earlier, I was like, I should start counting my calories again. That's like me, you know. I have been on and off the calorie counting train 100 times in the last decade. I find the habit very difficult to stick to. But I've never actually tried the Lose It app specifically. I've tried MyFitnessPal and a couple others, but like I find like the stickiness of the habit doesn't keep after like a week or two.
Right.
I just start forgetting, and then once you start forgetting, you go, "Oh well, it's been like 3 days since I've input anything.
Yeah.
What's the point now?" Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Of course.
Right. So like that's inspiring to me to like try to like keep that like make it stickier for me to do it, you know, because it doesn't affect my mental health if I type in too many calories in a day in the app. Like it doesn't
Right.
make me feel bad to see that I've, you know, eaten poorly this day and I've eaten 3,000 calories of something. I'd rather have that written down than
Right.
forget that I did that, you know.
Right.
But I could definitely
You
see.
especially, just knowing you,
Yeah.
who see that would upset me, right? If it would affect me if the psychology of these apps is really frustrating, but it's I love it because it works. Where if you exceed the thing, it's red, and this tiny line of
Sure.
red really bothers me.
Right.
We had a couple experiences where I forget to log something, and then I logged it and then I went over, and
Yeah.
then that just made me go, okay, I have to run now.
Yeah.
Like and this is like at 10 p.m. and that's what. Like I remember there were some ads from Apple Watch ads where some guy saw that it was the same thing, same idea. Is like, oops, I'm not done yet. I need to run for another minute. But the difference between an arbitrary ring and it literally being the thing that allowed me to have a burger today is huge to me, because I care very much about the burger in a real sense than I do about some stupid ring.
Right.
And I think the thing about the point that the nutritionist made was that it's bad for your mental health, because I guess it's coming from this general sense of people being too obsessed with their phones and just looking at your phone, staring at your phone instead of enjoying your food. And she wants her clients to enjoy their food, and she assumes that by looking at your phone you enjoy the food less, and it's the opposite for me. Like,
no, I don't find that
log
at all. Yeah.
I get it out of the way, and now I get to eat. I'm happy now, and my brain adjusts, I guess. Like it's rare that I'm hitting my calorie goal and I'm not satisfied with what I've eaten for dinner. Because I think dinner is what counts the most. I think if you're busy for breakfast and lunch, you can just be busy.
Yeah.
But for dinner, like at the end of the day, I'm with my family, I'm with my wife and kid, and I'm unhappy. I think that's troublesome.
Yeah.
But it's just been good times mostly. I will say also that this is also the phase in my life where this is perfect. I think when I was younger, I don't know how I could have done this really.
Like you would have just like not cared about it. You would have just been like, whatever, I'll be fine later.
Yeah. Because I guess like because we don't. It's not like we have a personal cook here. We shop we do our own groceries and we cook, and but I think the collaboration of living and remaining and keeping each other alive with a family, I think helps. I think that's eventually I will. That's the thing too.
That was the other thing I wanted to sort of point out was like you mentioned your wife a couple times there, where you guys are collaborating and challenging each other at the same time, and you're like a little competitive. I think if competitiveness like helps instead of hinders, like that's awesome that you have that. I think that's another sort of sample set of one thing where that doesn't actually help for everybody or in always, but like if you find being a little competitive about it is helpful, that's awesome. Push that.
I will say it's helpful for her. So for her, it's the competition with me helps her. For me, my existence and my doing this and her feeling like I'm competing with her makes me then feel like she's supportive of me.
Right.
So I don't enjoy competing with her, but that's very much a her thing. I joke with her friends who see us after a long time, and then they ask us about whatever we're doing to look better. And I joke that it's having a wife who's not supportive that really helps me, because if you just listen to the words and you write down the words on paper, she sounds really mean and really unhappy that I'm making any sort of progress. But I know that what this means is like we're competing. So,
but that's it's a competitive attitude. Yeah, I get it.
Right. So that helps. Very lucky that way.
There's one thing that I like observe, because you guys broadcast your lives a little bit more. I don't know if you do it publicly or if I can see it because I'm friends with you.
It's just you.
It's just me. It's just you DMing me videos of your inner life.
No, our social media is private, but you just happen to be like,
Yeah.
you follow us both.
Oh, okay, so you guys
So
like okay, so that's
we all follow each other, the three
right.
of us.
So that's I get to see you guys filming each other doing like Nintendo Switch workouts,
Right.
which is I have to say like I could never do that myself. Like have a
What do you mean?
It's one okay, so it's one of the reasons I don't really even like going to like a gym. I like working out at home because it's like private and no one can see me. The idea of someone like filming me doing a workout is like ghastly to me. Like especially like ones that I don't feel super confident in. You know, like a HIIT workout or something like that. I feel very, very self-conscious doing like a HIIT workout, but I force myself to go through it. But if I had like a camera on me, it would be like, I'd get such stage fright, you know? But I think if that's the kind of thing that like helps push you two in that like sense of competitiveness, because I can kind of get that vibe from you two when you're doing that you're like, that you guys are in a versus mode. You know?
Right. Right.
But like in a good healthy way.
Yeah.
You know.
No, it's true. It is a bit of a versus mode, but I especially for Ring Fit Adventure, which we only started doing the past like seriously for the past month because it's been so hot here.
Right.
Like it's just so hot. Global warming.
Sure.
My goodness. Like
Yeah.
we just walk. We used to just walk. That was our workout. But then because of the heat, it was just okay, let's try Ring Fit again.
Right.
Which we hadn't played in years, and then it's been working. It's
Right.
been working for her. But the filming thing is more she enjoys making me look like a fool. And I personally don't mind it.
That's
she
awesome,
though
then.
she though is like you. So if you, I don't know if you noticed, but there's many more videos of me
way more
doing that stuff, right? And I swear I don't ask her to do it, nor do I film it myself. The stuff I film myself is like coffee stuff, you know. But like workout stuff it's not a thing I identify with. Like I am not a fit. There's another podcast here in what I'm about to say. I identify as a fat person, Sawyer. Like that's my whole life. I was a fat kid. They made fun of me for being fat. I identify as a fat person. It is not, I do not identify as any sort of fitspo or like fitness online. That is not me. So I will never do this on purpose.
Right.
So this is her just like looking for an exercise that makes me look ridiculous and then filming that. Like that's her. So and it's her, so whatever.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's funny. I see the value in it, but it's certainly not this is who I am now.
You have also convinced me to like try Ring Fit Adventure. Like that might be if I see it on sale somewhere, I might pick it up. I used to be a Wii Fit player. Like
yes, you mentioned this.
A long time, you know, so I got rid of my Wii U in 2018, so I haven't tried Wii Fit since 2018. But from like 2008 to like 20, like that 10 years, I regularly used that game app. Right?
Well, compared to Ring Fit, it's more of an app than a game.
Maybe. I mean, the Wii U version of it though was really good. Like I feel like there's been there were three Wii Fits. There was the Wii Fit, there was the Wii Fit Plus on the Wii, and then there was the Wii Fit U. I think that's what it was called. Which right like
well and we fit each other. So
speaking of identifying as a fat person, the Wii Fit user interface would weigh you. So like it was the first ever smart scale, I think, ever. But like it was the first one that I felt was like accurate and good. And it would weigh you, and you had to stand on it for like good 15 seconds while it weighed you. And during those 15 seconds, your Nintendo Mii character who in every other application on the Wii is a very sort of skinny stick figure like person. As it would weigh you in, and as it calculated the weight, that character would just grow in a pretty mean way. If like once it got to, you know, my weight, which, you know, has been, I've floated between 220 and 235 for most of my adult life. It would get up there, and because of the BMI numbers, which like is a pretty mean number to like push yourself against, and has largely been like disproven as a thing. And I wonder if Nintendo feels bad about putting that number first and foremost. But it would make your little Mii character look at its own belly in kind of sadness. And then like a little, I swear to God, like a trombone noise would play.
Womp womp.
Yeah.
Oh no.
And it would be like, you're obese. And it would just be like, obese.
See, that's not helpful. You know, like, that's not.
But I wonder, like,
You know,
to some people, I wonder if that was helpful and motivational. To me, it just made me feel terrible every time.
Right.
But I did regularly use it because it was, you know, in the days before, pretty good at-home streaming workout videos. Like, I don't think people remember this. Like, before Peloton took off, there weren't streaming video apps for workouts. Like, that kind of just wasn't a thing. Like, there were, like, a couple scattershot ones on YouTube. But, like, since Peloton took off, you can, for free, find an unlimited amount of good workout videos on YouTube. There's Apple Fitness Plus, there's Fit On, there's dozens of very good services to give you very good workout videos. But, like, between 2008 and 2018... like Wii Fit was like a pretty good one to actually like get you to go through the workout steps.
Right.
Even though it was also kind of easy to cheat. If you wanted to cheat at Wii Fit, you could cheat really easily. I didn't. Because what's the point of cheating at Wii Fit? There's no streaks like on an Apple Watch.
You can totally. Sorry, just a side note about cheating. So Max, my 7-year-old, loves playing with us, but he also loves cheating.
Okay.
And he's a child, so he doesn't need to exercise. He already has enough exercise just being a kid.
Sure.
But every time, so whenever it's his turn to play, he would just. It would really, really annoy us. Like, I remember feeling really angry one time because I just had an intense like session. Char just had an intense session, and then he's doing his thing and he's fighting the enemy, and the workout is something like squats, which kills us. We squat and it kills us, and he would just hold the Joy-Con, which is supposed to be strapped to his leg. He just hold it and just do this casually, and then he would just cheat. And I kept saying, like, why are you even doing this? Just play Zelda. Like, why? What are you? Why? What's the point? And then one time I raised my voice, and it made him very happy.
Because he won at that point.
Yeah, because he won.
Yeah.
Right, and then he leveled up higher than. Well, now he's not. He's second place now, but higher than Char at that point. So, you know, it's a game to him.
Yeah.
But you're right. There is no but unlike Wii Fit, I think Nintendo learned you can adjust how your avatar can look however you want it to look. It's not the same as the Mii or whatever you use for the Switch profiles.
Yeah.
But it's a character, right? And then I think there's a larger hypothesis here about the psychology of fitness with the pandemic and with tracking, but I think the tracking, connecting to what you're saying about the experimenting on yourself, like, it's empowering to just know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And the thing that clicked for me is what to do with that. Like I didn't know what to do with that with all of those numbers because my Apple Health has my numbers all the way from 2015 from when I
Right.
got the Apple Watch the first time. Didn't know what it meant. Just
Right.
meant I'd have a streak or something.
Do you think that
And
Apple has sort of like not dropped the ball, but like they have all these numbers for you and then they don't really help you figure out what to do with them. Like they did add like trend lines, which I did find more useful than what they had before, which was just kind of the raw data. Like
right.
the trend lines are better than nothing, but
Yeah.
I still feel like with the amount of data the watch has, they should have better like action items for you. But it could just be Apple's, maybe they don't necessarily want to be in the business of telling you what to do with that.
Yeah, it might have. Yeah, I think there's a missed opportunity there, but I also understand when you have nutritionists saying that it's a bad idea to track your calories.
Sure.
Like, who knows how many doctors would advise against it. Yeah, I can see why it wouldn't. I imagine that person the nutritionist was saying, who would have
Yeah.
some serious mental health challenges looking at their phone before eating.
Right.
I'm quote lucky enough to have a calorie budget that allows me to be happy, but I imagine someone with a different body and a different set of circumstances probably be very unhappy with their budget
Yeah.
if an app's telling them they can only eat 1,000 calories a day or something.
Yeah,
Um,
that's insane.
but,
But
right?
that's why it's like this sort of thing is so important to think of yourself as a sample set of one. Like
Hmm.
there's all the advice in the world and all the ideas in the world, but like you should really only focus on what works for you and what doesn't work for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not once. And I think I'm gonna ask you to help me be accountable here. But I can't imagine ever feeling confident enough to tell anyone to try what I'm doing.
Okay. Yeah, well,
You
and
know,
no, and we
like
shouldn't. Like there's an underlying thing where I'm like, oh, we have microphones, so we sound like authority figures. We're just
no,
people with Apple
that,
Watches trying to be
no,
slightly
yeah, that's
healthier.
right.
We have no
Yeah,
qualifications, you know.
zero,
Right.
zero, and it's I also I'm so familiar with the feeling of feeling alienated or annoyed at
Hmm.
worst or angry at worst by healthier, better looking people telling me what I should do.
I do think
Like
having the title right below our video here where it says "You Chose Poorly" podcast, I think that does undercut the authority slightly,
yes, yes. Thankfully,
which is good.
thankfully.
I'm okay being a
Yeah.
clown person.
Right, right.
Yeah.
In fact, to me, the biggest benefit of this is like that if there's anything that I am, the most important thing the most important result that I think I can measure is just that I'm happy most of the time.
Yeah.
Like I think, like that's the one that indirectly leads to other stuff that's good for me. But like
Can I ask about that?
if
Are you actually measuring
yes,
that?
please.
Like, is that something
Uh,
you're actually writing down somewhere? Like, how happy am I today with how I've been doing this?
Oh well, the iOS whatever it is this year it makes it easier, but no, I don't actively do it daily.
Hmm.
But I guess just living with another human gives me a way to track
Yeah, they'll let you know.
fairly easily
Yeah.
if I am, and it's like I'm not saying everybody has their own shit to deal with.
Yeah.
And there's like 100 or 1,000 things that I deal with on a personal on a daily basis. But just this other thing I was thinking about this morning in preparation for today is like the whole relationship with food thing. Like that's too complicated a conversation for me to be a part of. I've never had that conversation. I've never talked to a therapist about my relationship with food, but I understand that that's like a critical thing in many people's fitness journeys.
Mm-hmm.
So I am saying nothing about this.
Yeah.
All right. I'm just saying with my specific relationship with food,
Yeah. Yeah.
where a lot of my happiness has to do with food. This is helping me get better, eat better, and meet my goals,
Yeah.
and also remain happy.
That's
Like
awesome.
it's if only for that. This is the thing I want to talk about for this podcast.
Yeah.
Uh, Thankfully, though, I also have some results that matter.
Yeah.
So that makes me very happy. So I just wanna close the book on myself for this one. Close the chapter on myself just for this podcast about I am not at my weight goal yet, but I'm very proud to say that I hit the Bret Hart 1994 weight last Sunday. Thank you. But I do want to hit. I think it's Owen Hart was 227.
Mm.
Like I think I want to hit 220. I think that's
Yeah.
my pound conversion goal. I think once I hit 220, I think I'll recalibrate and make some changes.
Yeah.
But all this is about is hitting the 220 and remaining happy. And I'm kind of okay. It says I'm supposed to hit it next month, but if it takes me longer, as long as I keep doing this, I think I'm okay. So I'm not married to like a goal by a certain date. Um, but I'm just kind of, I just want to say that I'm kind of proud of this is a version of myself I could never have imagined, ever, like ever, because I just didn't know how to do it, and technology allows me to do it. Like I didn't realize how handicapped I was,
Yeah.
before now, and so going back to the you chose poorly thing, like my relationship to the watch has changed too. Like the Apple Watch, you were talking, we were complaining about the Apple Watch, and I realized that all of this, like this covers over all of my technology annoyances, just because of what it is for me now, what it
Sure.
means for me now. And actually, and this is the weirdest part, is like I have now been looking outside the Apple Watch for tracking, because like there are rings now, which seems to be
There are
convenient.
rings. Yeah.
There are rings, right? And there are other things, and there are other cheaper things too. And there are things that, you know what? Before the Apple Watch, they all went away, but there were motion fitness trackers that didn't have a screen,
Yep.
and those things don't exist anymore or barely exist. They're hard to find.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it all goes into Apple Health, I think.
Sure.
So if
Yeah.
I find one, I think I'm very interested in that, which is not a thing I could have imagined saying
Mm-hmm.
since 2015.
Mm-hmm.
So as much as I love the Apple Watch now, in a weird way, I'm now kind of looking around for something else. And I think I'll be an Apple Watch person forever, but I think its value to me is just like it's so defined now.
Yeah.
Aside from it being an Apple thing I'm a fan of,
Right.
like its value to me is like concrete.
Oh, it
And
like became a tool for you. Finally.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and I also am aware, therefore, that there are other things that do the same thing.
Mhm.
You know, so like I'm not like my biases aren't as strong as they were,
Yeah.
or rather my prejudices
Right.
aren't as strong as they were when the Apple Watch came out. So I just wanted to say that. So I appreciate the support and the happiness, and just like the tech person perspective of it is like I know you're one of the few, or not, I don't know who else would get it, but you're one of the people in my life who would. So I really want to talk to you about that.
Good. I'm so happy to hear all this. I'm so happy to hear all this. I wanted to, because I did want to talk a little bit about like the workflow of actually like putting your food into a thing. This is the workflow I've been trying this week. And I really have only been doing it for like 6 or 7 days, and I don't know if it'll stick. But I've had such bad luck not bad luck. I haven't been able to keep that habit going at any point in time. Even though I'm usually like pretty good at like inputting data on myself. Like historically, I've been pretty good at it, but calorie counting, I've never been able to get it to stick for me. So this week, what I've been doing was, so we make a grocery list, and the things that we make like for dinner are usually like a recipe that's online, and my Fitness Pal can take that URL and make a recipe in my Fitness Pal and grab like the calories from the recipe, and I can input that, And so when I have that dinner, I just grab that recipe, I put it in, and I input it. And I've been doing that for the week. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Like it's a little finicky. Like the actual sort of feature set of like grabbing all of the information. Sometimes it'll just be like, oh, 0 calories for this meal. I'm like, you didn't do your job right.
See, I just take it. Like, okay, 0 calories.
Yeah. But like I do wonder where along that line is either a person or a machine just making a wild assumption about what a calorie is in a food. Like, is it if I'm grabbing if MyFitnessPal is grabbing the calories from the recipe, but the recipe's calories were just manually input by the person who wrote the recipe, it's possible that those numbers like don't necessarily reflect real world, like what I personally ate, which is like which is why the experiment of one is difficult to have external data, right?
Yeah. Because
their idea of what this recipe is, because no one ever makes a recipe exactly the same way as what's written down, right? So at that point, also you're changing the numbers. So do you account for any of that, or are you just going on faith that the numbers are correct?
I think even if you do more, it's still gonna end up being faith.
Yeah.
Because like even tracking how many calories you burn, like that's an estimate. Like the watch doesn't know that.
Right.
You know, it doesn't know.
Yeah.
And even the idea of the budget per day. Like, it ends at midnight.
Right.
Right? So, the app will allow me to then have a huge meal at 12:01 a.m.
Yeah.
That makes no sense. Right?
Right.
So,
that's true. Historically, bad time to have a huge meal.
Right. It's like, exactly.
And you're not. I'm assuming you're not doing any of the like intermittent fasting stuff. You don't have like a stopwatch in between meals.
No.
Right.
No.
Right.
I can't. I tried to. Like that's a health reason thing too. I used to do intermittent fasting, and that's one of the things that worked 4 or 5 years ago. But since the diabetes diagnosis, I just can't do it anymore.
Right.
No. And what we do is we just there's like so Lose It can do everything MyFitnessPal can do if we subscribe to the premium thing.
Okay.
But if we don't, it's all manual. Now we have access to the database, and we could do the barcode and the URL thing if we pay, but we're not gonna pay.
That might keep me on MyFitnessPal thing because I do really like the URL. Thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you should just stay, do it. Because the convenience would. I imagine now, like had I learned more about these apps before I got into it, I think that like if I had an idea of what the workflow might be like, I would have probably just done MyFitnessPal.
Right.
Because the URL sounds really convenient. Like for me, everything's manual. The database is good, but and here locally also it's good. But,
that's nice.
The idea is that like we don't eat everything that's in the database, so we have to look for something measurable.
Right.
And if there are like 10 versions of something measurable, like one of the things we do, by the way, and this is helped by my coffee lifestyle, is we weigh our food occasionally. And
I did want to ask if you're like if like in the kitchen you're going like I'm having this much of this and this much of this, and you're writing that down.
Yeah. No, we're not writing it down, but we're not doing it in the kitchen. We're doing it at the dinner table.
Yeah.
Because in the kitchen, we're making as much as we can of whatever we're making, also for the rest of the week, for Max's food in school. But doing it at dinner table, I understand and I concede that is something insane people do. But because weighing your food at the table, we won't do this in public. It's ridiculous. But at home, it's like a normal thing for us. And it's only normal because I have like 3 or 4 scales at the bar because of the coffee thing.
Yeah.
So I think this is not a thing I would advise. See, like this is not a thing I would tell myself
food.
6 months ago.
Yeah.
Weighing food. I think that's a step too far for a normal person.
Right.
But for us, it works just because it's convenient.
Yeah.
But but we just go. It's all faith, and since it's all faith, we just if we're in if we're well behaved, which we are most of the time, we're gonna be conservative and choose the higher calorie count version of a slice of pizza.
Oh,
Versus
that's
the one
nice.
that says yeah.
That sounds fair of you to be like, okay, let's not pick the one that's 20 calories for the whole slice of pizza.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's where having the competition support thing helps.
Right.
I think if I were alone, I'd be very tempted to just like 20 calories. It says so.
That's right.
You know?
Hey,
But,
I'm just doing this with the remote and winning the game.
Right. My watch says it was fitness gaming. So what?
2 hours of mind and body every day.
I'm using my mind.
Yeah.
What can they say? But yeah, we keep each other honest. I forget that's the thing I should say. Like that's a big thing, keeping each other honest. But it's not. It's fun. It's not like we're policing each other. It's just how it is. But it is all faith, though, because who knows how many calories you burn in a day. The only thing that's real to me is what ended up becoming the results.
Right.
This is why I have the faith.
Yeah.
But the rest of it is just, spiritual practice. You don't know what's happening.
Sure. Got it. No, that's a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
That's true. All right, cool. Well, that answers my question. And then I guess the other question I have is, okay, so what if you miss like a couple of days
on the app, or
like the tracking, like you just like forget or you get busy?
I don't know.
Do you go back and fill it out, or do you just call it those days are missed?
Yeah, well, the app is designed to keep streaks, and then if you don't, you have to close the day. You have to turn off the day logging.
Oh.
So there were days where, and then once you do that, it says you've tracked the day. So I have tracked like 4 days and I didn't close it, and it would show, and I'd remember, and it would show that the streak broke. So then I'd go back and close it. But I have to prepare myself for the day that I actually failed to track an entire day. Because there were meals that I failed to track, and I told you what happened was I forgot to log like a big thing, and then at the end of the day I logged it, and it meant I was over,
right.
And I didn't want to be over, so I went out for a run or a walk. Didn't really run at like 10 p.m. But
sure.
But I was not happy to walk, but I just considered it a funny thing. But it was not like a happy, oh yeah, I get to walk, But what happens if I miss a day? I'll find out when it happens, but I am preparing myself as an emotional, easily frustrated person who identifies as a fat person, that this is gonna happen one day. And I'm what I have read and what I tell myself is that if I fail, that's part of it. I'll just do it again the next day.
Yeah.
This is knowing my tendency to give up completely.
Yeah.
If I fail. So accepting that about myself, I'm gonna try to just do it again the next day. When it happens though, I'll let you know. I'll let you know. But I'm not supposed to stop because I forgot to track. And also, like mathematically speaking, if you go over your calorie budget for a day, that's okay. That's fine.
Yeah.
Even if the app makes it look red and scary, like okay.
I like you do have to allow yourself to be human.
Yeah.
But I also think part of being human is just forgetting that the computer asked you to put stuff into it yesterday sometimes.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, this started like end of January. Like I have not had a birthday yet and Christmas dinner yet, where I'm almost certainly going to go over.
Right.
Like not even just my calorie diet budget, but like over, you know what I'm saying? So that's going to happen. The annoying thing is that the premium version allows for that and you don't lose a streak.
I'm gonna send you a screen cap of a widget I've been using ever since we had this conversation. Like a week and a half ago when we had this conversation, I was like, okay, I should start taking this more seriously. And so I've been tracking my food and I've been using this widget. Like it's the top widget on my phone. I'll send it to you now.
Sure.
It's like it's one of those like give you a bunch of information in one small space widgets. But it's like it's showing me like at a glance like the numbers I'm trying to actually like pay attention to. So
This
like
is taking it from
Apple
Fitness
Health.
Pal or from Apple Health?
From Apple Health, yeah.
Oh, because what you log in Fitness Pal goes into Apple Health.
Goes into
as
app
well,
like
right?
immediately. Yeah, yeah.
Right, right.
So like the widget, and you can set it to show you any numbers you want from Apple Health. But I wanted to show me like, okay, how much exercise time have you actually spent today? And then like how much protein and cholesterol have you had today? Because those are the two things that I'm caring about the most. Like making sure I have enough protein, but also making sure my cholesterol is below what I'd like it to be. And then on the right of the widget, it shows like a 10-day summary of my exercise time, which is something I've always wanted from like the fitness widget or the Apple Health widget, which is like give me that line of completed rings or incompleted rings. I want to see like the last couple of days of how I've been doing. And so that's kind of what this gives me. And then beneath it, I have this little line that shows me like how far I've cycled today, because that's like that's the most fun workout I do is ride my bike. And so that's sort of to push me to do that more. And then sleep hours, and then my weight, which is 234.1, and then my like active calories.
Right.
Right. So active calories is like how much you've moved and how much you've eaten.
Show notes. This is great.
Show notes. Yeah, I'll throw that in show notes. Yeah. Called Widget Wizard. And I think all the app is doing is just pulling number from over here, pushing visual over here. It's not. I don't think it's reading anything really.
Right.
Yeah.
It's I worry about, not worry, but you're mentioning the features on my Fitness Pal and how Lose It has been working for me, and like the attention span, the short attention span tech person in my brain is now trying to figure out, like, can I export this data and just try something else? But the fact is, like, I'm so I feel so invested in Lose It because it's what's associated with what's worked.
Okay, what's the title of our show?
Right. Okay, got it.
If you have found, you spent the last 60 minutes telling me that you figured out something that works.
Right. Okay. I'll stop. Lose It app works for me.
Great. Then keep it up.
Okay. But I mean, if you can export it.
Oh my god.
Okay. I'll stop.
I think you could use this widget with, because I'm assuming the Lose It thing will go into Apple Health, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that, if you use, and this is one of like 200 widgets in the App Store that shows various measurements and things like that. Like there's a nice rich community of apps like that. But I like, to me, like that's the point of a widget, is show me a bunch of stuff so that I don't have to go into an app.
Right.
Yeah.
I've been this is the widgets for Apple Health, for the calorie counter and the pedometer app are all on one page for me.
Yeah.
So I should put that screenshot up there.
Yeah, send a screenshot. I'll put it into show notes.
Yeah, but the phone is my webcam, so maybe
later.
But but I was gonna say that sorry, just one more thing, since this is the podcast about this sort of thing. One more thing about Apple Health, that so my watch has been tracking all sorts of stuff that I never cared about. But recently, with the exercise and with my health, it apparently estimates your cardio fitness, your VO2 max.
Yes,
that's what they call it.
Actually, I did want to talk about the VO2 max number a little bit. If you so do you have an Apple Watch that's new enough that it's tracking that?
Yes. I mean, since the Series 4, I think since the Series 4, because it's been tracking it since 2019, which is when I got the Series 4. So I'm on the 7 now. You're
on the 7. Oh, okay, cool. I thought the VO2 max was connected to the blood oxygen sensor, which was only on the 8 and 9.
Yeah, that's what I would assume, right? But I have data on my health app all the way from 2019. So,
Oh, maybe
and
it's like a level of accuracy that the blood oxygen helps with that.
maybe,
I don't know. I don't know. Again, we're just folks with watches. I don't, you know.
yeah,
Uh,
that's all we are.
like I know
Uh,
that they turned that off in the States because of like a patent thing, but like we still get to use it. Yeah.
we still have it. That's right. You can buy one right now and it'll have it.
Yeah.
Over here, the store's here.
Right.
So suck it, America. But the idea that so I saw and I just looking back, it just the trends started appearing. And then one day I got an alert telling me that my VO2 max was low. This was sometime last year. And I just figured, well, of course it's low. You know, like, what can I do? It's low. But apparently in 2020, I looked back, I was above average, which made no sense to me because we were just walking around our little building. That's all. That's the only exercise we were doing. But apparently I was above average, and since then I had been then below average, and then for during the entirety of the pandemic, after that just low. And having seen that, it motivated, and then having exercised, see the data made me think, okay, if I'm doing 30 minutes of exercise a day, I would like to see this trend improve, like this trend upwards to improve cardio fitness. And it advises you. The only thing Apple will ever do to advise you is to just have that little paragraph at the end of every metric explaining what it is and what you can do to get better. So it just says do more challenging, more frequent cardio.
Just
So
try
walking
harder.
and
Just-
just try harder. So
yeah.
okay,
Just get good.
So I did. So I did this, and sure enough, but after about say 3 or 4 weeks, I went from low to below average. So I'm very proud to say I'm below average cardio fitness now. But I don't feel okay. So like I feel like I can run more. I don't think I ever run really. So I can certainly run more just because I'm actually running. But so I don't know how measurable that is. But I can certainly run for a little bit longer than before. I think that's the equivalent of me having the burger, right?
Sure.
But seeing the trend in the health app, I don't know what that means.
Right.
Because, I'm still doing 30 minutes of exercise. I've been doing that since 2015.
Right.
But now, seeing that this means cardio fitness has improved,
Yeah.
and now what it makes me want to do is, I have the step goal, and then cardio exercise is part of exercise. But once or twice a week, I have to do some quote serious cardio. And the watch tells me when it's serious during the exercise with the zones and
Right.
that stuff that has been in my watch the entire time. And now it's helping me. So this is a thing I'm happy about. But see, I had to I feel like this is like more advanced stuff. This is like level 2 in my fitness journey. I'm still very thrilled about level 1. Like
Yeah.
I'm still just happy to count calories and for the deficit to mean I'm losing a little bit of weight.
Yeah.
But like fitness now is, I suppose, another topic but like fitness, like exercise, the cardio fitness is a thing that I think I don't know what other what's needed to measure that, because it could be the blood oxygen thing. It could be other stuff. But since it was only after the Series 4, I don't know. And it's possible that, since VO2 max is literally oxygen also, it's possible that my above average health was inaccurate because my watch couldn't measure blood oxygen at the time. But I will say I appreciate specifically the Apple Watch for this, because I think, it's a lot of it is faith. Because I don't know. I did the treadmill stress test for some physical exam, and it showed that I was healthy, but VO2 max was not among the metrics.
Right.
But my watch telling me though that my health is better after I have some other physical, literal evidence that tells me that it is better. I credit Apple for that. That's pretty cool. Like,
Do you think
it
next year they'll
helps.
come out with a new watch and it'll have a VO2 Pro Max?
And that's it for You Chose Poorly. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
It's their
It's all
fault for
about
calling
cameras
things
next time.
this. It's their fault.
VO2 Pro Max. So maybe Series 4 was VO2 Mini. Like we didn't
Mini,
know.
yeah,
That
yeah.
didn't really count.
Well, I think
Didn't
the
really count.
U.S. Apple Watch is VO2 Mini right now.
Ah, yeah. Suckers. Losers. Suck it, America.
Your weird patent system or less profitable companies trying to get paid from Apple. Oh my god. Well, like, in general, congratulations. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you so much. It means a lot.
And
Appreciate it.
keep it up.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you. Let's hope so. Journey is long. The journey is long.
that's the idea. Yeah.
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 I'd like to still be around. I will say that like the tech part of my brain, the fan of the watch, which I just spent 60 minutes saying I now understand its value, blah 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 blah. But now it's like there's a part of me that wants to reward myself with a better Apple Watch when it comes out this year. Not even if it's so clear to me that I don't need it because this is everything I need, you know. But like maybe I should get the Ultra because it won't die after 18 hours.
Sure.
But that's just tech vanity.
Yeah.
That's You Chose Poorly stuff.
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay, very, very quick 6-month review of the Apple Watch Series 9.
Yes.
I feel like I purchased a new battery and more RAM for my Apple Watch Series 5. And they rewarded me by having almost every third-party developer stop making Apple Watch apps. That's been my experience so far.
Yeah, you're right though.
Like that's the difference. Like it's I don't like any of the new watch faces except for the Snoopy app, which is excellent. But I don't use it all that much. Like I'll put the Snoopy watch face on when like I'm going out and I'm not going to be using my watch too much, but I kind of want to see have people see the Snoopy watch face because it's very delightful.
Right.
But I really hate this like scroll up to see little widgets thing. That sucks. The double tap feature with the finger is the most useless UI input that Apple has ever made. It does nothing because most of the time when I'm like, oh, I'm actually doing this for a second, I'm just gonna tap this. Most of the time, the little animation pops up and it shakes its head at you, and it's like, nope, not gonna do anything for you right now.
Oh no.
Like that stinks, and I hate that they got rid of the like swipe left and right to change your watch face.
Yeah, I was surprised about that. Like someone complained and then they said they were gonna bring it back, and it's April and it's not back.
I know. No, and it sucks because before WatchOS 10, I had sort of set up several watch faces with the idea that I'm just quickly swiping back and forth. That was really useful to me. And now this, like, you have to hold down the watch face, then swipe, then select it. Garbage. Hate it. Piss poor OS update. And I hate that Apple pissed off developers enough that they were just like, we're not going to make watch apps for you anymore. Right? So I actually feel like if you bought the Series 5 in like 2020 or whenever it came out, or 2019, that year, there was like 10 times more apps for the Apple Watch than there are today. You know?
Yeah.
So, and like that, like, and they've added some sensors, like the Apple Watch 6, 7, 8, 9, they added stuff to each one, and the battery is great, and there's more RAM in it, so it's faster, but it doesn't do as much.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't, and that sucks.
It sucks. Like, that is lousy.
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah.
like I don't know why that isn't in like people's reviews of this app. Like it's actively doing fewer things
Right.
as a computer than it could.
Right. And it's like it's hard not to blame anyone else but Apple.
It's 100% Apple's fault because they.
You think you're
Yeah.
standing on this? It's 100%.
It's 100% Apple's
Right.
fault. Like it's here's a stupid thing, but like Facebook Messenger used to be an app on the watch, and now they're not, and that's not Facebook's fault. That's 100% Apple's fault that they made developing for the app for the watch annoying enough that developers pulled out.
Right. Yeah.
Or they soured relationship with developers, so they pulled out.
Yeah.
Like that's Apple's fault.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
It's someone was complaining about a friend of mine was complaining about an iPad that worked perfectly fine, but now can't do anything because it can't. You can't download software beyond like iOS 12 or something.
Sure.
And the Apple fan in me was like, yeah, but
Buy a new one.
Apple's fault that Netflix won't make. You know, I mean, Netflix is the one that didn't make one that still works with iOS 12.
Right.
Not Apple.
Right.
But you know, I didn't say any of this. This is just the biases I have in me. But you're right. It's 1,000% Apple's fault.
Yeah, it's both active and in a like unconscious decisions that Apple makes that leads to this stuff.
The way they operate, nothing is not active. The way they are, you know, like their size and their amount of money.
Yeah.
It's.
Oh, I mean, if you were to ask Apple, like, oh, why doesn't my iPad run Netflix anymore? It's only 6 years old. They would go, it's a 6-year-old iPad, buy a new one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know that's what they'd say.
That's an active decision. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So they're not making it obsolete. But they're allowing, you know, so.
No, I actually think like 6 years.
obsolescence.
I think 6-year-old iPads still work pretty good, though. I don't know. He might be on an even older one than that.
This is like a 10-year-old iPad. But
yeah.
hardware-wise, it was perfectly fine.
Sure, yeah, there's nothing broken about it. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
And even the battery was still alive. Like, it was fine.
Right.
And it just couldn't do anything else.
Right. Tell them to put Linux on
YouTube. Well, they're not the kind of people who would do
that.
So.
I think one day you either become the kind of person who just buys a new iPad every 4 years, or you start putting Linux on your stuff.
Right.
You have to one or the other.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
used to think.
I have no idea if you can even put Linux on an iPad.
there was a kind of person I thought I'd never be, but now I'm not gonna say that anymore.
Now you might start putting Linux on things.
Who knows? I mean, cliffhanger. Like I have one of these things now.
Ooh, yeah, we need to talk about that.
Yeah,
definitely.
It's ridiculous.
That's a real conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Well,
so yeah,
I will see you next time then.
I'll see you next time, Sawyer. Thank you for this. Appreciate it.
Good chatting with you. Bye.